Welcome back. Well, last summer we told you about the curious case of a small Christian school in the small town of Kingman, Alberta. It's called the Cornerstone Christian Academy. And as you can tell, it's their middle name. They're Christian. They believe in Christian values. That's okay. There's also Jewish schools in Alberta and Muslim schools in Alberta. And I don't know off the top of my head, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's a Sikh school in Alberta too. And the Cornerstone Christian Academy asked to join the local school board called the Battle River School Division, and they signed a contract allowing and permitting the Christian character of the school. Well, that didn't sit right after a while with some of the politicians in the Battle River School Division. They demanded that the Cornerstone Christian Academy stop referring to certain passages from the Bible. They literally named certain verses of the Bible that they said could be offensive. And if the school didn't stop referring to them, they would be kicked out. In the end, they kept that threat and have terminated their contract with the school, giving them 1 year's notice to find a new home. Well, this, of course, is illegal discrimination based on religion. You might recall last year we spoke to our friend John Carpe, the boss of the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, who took up the case of the Cornerstone Christian Academy. He joins us now, and he has some news. John, welcome back. Great to see you again, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Ezra.
John, did I correctly retell the facts of the Cornerstone Christian Academy and the Battle River School Division?
Yes. The fundamental dispute was about the school's right to be a Christian school and study all of the Bible. The school board was demanding that certain verses pertaining to a Christian view on sexuality and marriage, that those verses not be studied or read. And that's the crux of it. There was a side battle as well about the school board wanting to place a gag order on the school that would have prevented the school from communicating with parents and reporting to parents about the school board's behavior. And so the school board refused the gag order, and then the agreement was terminated.
Yeah. And by the way, the Christian nature of this school has never been hidden. It's right there in the name. I think all that's changed here is in the person of Lori Scory. That's the name of the boss of the school board. She just will not tolerate passages of the Bible that she doesn't like or that other political bureaucrats don't like. It's so bizarre to me. I follow the Old Testament. I'm a Jew, but Christians follow the New Testament. The books are the books. They're not subject to editing. I mean, either you take the Bible or you don't. The fact that a politician would say, well, I don't like that passage and I don't like that passage. I mean, that might be their own homemade approach to religion. That's fine for themselves. But for them to demand that of a Christian school, that almost sounds so ham-fisted it can't even be real. But that's real. They literally listed certain passages of the Bible that were no longer okay in the eyes of the school board. Again, I want you to confirm this because you're so immersed in the facts. I'm just reviewing the facts. Is that really what happened?
Yeah, there's a passage from Corinthians, and it is quite outrageous. And I'm shocked at how other media are calling, the CBC calls the school controversial for rejecting the school board's demand. The CBC does not call the school board controversial, as if it's par for the course that a school board is going to ask a Muslim school to not read or study certain passages of the Quran, or not ask a Sikh school, and there are Sikh schools in Alberta, to not read certain passages of their sacred scriptures, or to ask a Jewish school to not read certain passages from the Torah.
Don't tell the story of the Exodus, because that's being mean to Egyptians, and we don't want any anti-Egyptian bigotry. So, hey, Jews, don't read the book of Exodus. Like, you would just look at such a politician and say, you are crazy, and even if you weren't crazy, that's not allowed in the Charter of Rights. Okay, let's skip ahead to today's news. You have done what you are one of the only people in the country doing. You have come to the aid of the school board, and you have, of the school, and you have filed a court application on behalf of the school. Tell me a little bit about this is a form of a lawsuit. Tell me a little bit about the lawsuit. what you're asking the court to say and what your arguments are.
In a nutshell, we're asking the court to reverse the June 2017 decision of the school board to kick the school out of the school district. So we're asking for a reversal of that. And the grounds are that the master agreement between the school board and the school states that it can only be terminated in the best interest of students. And the school board has not provided any reason or facts or evidence or data as to why or how it might possibly be in the best interest of students to get this school, which has become dependent on the government funding, and suddenly kick the school out of the school board.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's not just the bizarre censorship. It's if they're kicked out of this school board, all the taps are turned off, and all those families, obviously, they pay taxes. And this school board is going to say, nope, you have no access to your educational tax dollars. Go and try and find someone else to pay. I mean, so those parents would have to double pay if they, I mean, it's so punitive. And that's, you mentioned the CBC called the school controversial. The school board, which wants to take a black marker and block out parts of the Bible and shut down the school and cut off funding. Apparently that's not controversial. John, I find it so frustrating. You're the only guys fighting for this. We're trying to help a little bit. Last summer, I think we sent you about $5,500 for this case. You've done a lot of work on this. You filed the court application. Can we try and scare up a couple $1,000s more to help defray your costs? I know this school is poor. They don't have money. If we asked our viewers to raise, if we can try and get you a couple grand, would that help defray your costs?
Every bit helps. The court actions are expensive. We have 3 full-time staff lawyers working at the Justice Center. We've got over a dozen cases on the go all across Canada. And we don't ask for or receive any government funding. So anytime that we get voluntary donations, that's what pays 100% of what we do.
Well, let's see if we can help. Now, I would like to post on our website for all our viewers to see the actual application. That's the legal document you filed. So we'll put that in a PDF that people can read, because I think our people really like to look at the details, to look at the law being used to protect Christians in the public square. That's really what's going on here. I got one last question to you, John. I mean, I know in my bones that if this were a Jewish school that was told you can't teach Exodus anymore because it's mean, or if this was a Muslim school being told you can't teach certain provisions even about the jihad, there would be all sorts of press coverage. Has it become the norm, the default setting in both politics and the media, that Christians no longer have true freedom of religion in the public square? Is this normal now, or are we still dealing with anomalies and outrageous cases?
You know, the freedom of religion is rapidly disappearing if the current trends are not fought hard, fought aggressively, fought uncompromisingly. And I don't mean necessarily only the court actions, although that's part of the picture, but just people in your daily lives, daily interactions, to stand up for religious freedom on Facebook, on Twitter, in the workplace, so on and so forth. Because, yeah, there is a very aggressive move against religious freedom. We see it with the Trinity Western court case that the Supreme Court heard just last month. We see it in the Battle River School Division in Alberta, and we see it in various ways across Canada. So, yeah, sadly, yes, the religious freedom of Christians in particular is under heavy attack. I don't see thus far a lot of cases of Muslims, Sikhs, Jews, Hindus having their religious freedom being challenged.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, John, we support you so much here. And as I mentioned before, I'm Jewish myself, but I believe that the Jews have a special obligation to help righteous Christians. I mean, during the Holocaust, I've mentioned this to friends before, there were righteous Gentiles. Those were Christians that actually saved Jews from the Nazis, hid the Jewish kids in a farmhouse or whatever. And I think what's happening to Christians in the public square is obviously not of the same degree as the Holocaust. But I think the thread of devaluing and driving Christianity out of the public square is something that we should all stand against. And I think, speaking for myself, this is just my own motivation, John. I think Jews have a special obligation to stand up for religious freedom of righteous Gentiles, just as righteous Gentiles did for the Jews 75 years ago. So I'm proud to stand with you. We've got a website where we have the information about this case, my video and Sheila Gunn Reid's videos from last year. The website is called therealbigots.com because, in my view, the real bigots here are the school board, censors, and frankly the media. They're calling this school bigoted, but they are the bigoted ones. If folks want to help, we raised, I think, about $5,500 for John for this case last year. Let's see if we can get him another couple grand or even more this year. Go to therealbigots.com. John, thanks for fighting this. It's a never-ending battle, but that's just the way life is, eh?
You got to keep on fighting.
Well, I know you do, and thank God for you, John Carpe, boss of the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. We'll do our bit to put our shoulder to the wheel. Thanks for being part of this.
Yeah. Thanks, Ezra.
Well, not just part, you're the leader. Thanks for leading this. We will be part of it. You are the center of it, and good luck to the school.
Thank you.
Okay, there you have it, John Carpe. I tell you, I know I turn into a total fanboy when I'm talking to John, but whether it's freedom of speech on campus or freedom of religion for a Christian school, or even cases that seem very small on the face of them, but if you look underneath, it's the larger principle. I have to say that John Carpe is the leading civil liberties lawyer in Canada. It's just a fact. It used to be a group called the Canadian Civil Liberties Association. They've become social justice warriors for the left. And thankfully, John is filling some of that gap. And so I love the fact that we chip in from time to time. He's the leader. We're just helpers. That's an excerpt from my daily TV show, The Ezra Levant Show. Normally it's behind a paywall, but I thought you'd like this video, so we put it on YouTube. If you want to subscribe to watch the daily show every day, including always 2 interviews a day, and I read my hate mail, just click on this screen and become a premium member.